Things they don't tell you about cruise ships, part 11. We just returned to our cabin and found these. Yes, this is a supplemental tip envelope that Royal Caribbean left in our cabin. Now, you may be wondering why we got it, since tips are generally included when you pay the daily service charge. Well, the daily service charge covers your housekeeping staff as well as the included dining staff, so the people in the buffet as well as the main restaurant. Your bar staff get covered if you purchase a dining package, or gratuity is added to each drink between 18 to 20%. But you'll still notice people tipping around the ship. You may want to bring some extra money to tip the maitre d' if you have a lot of special dining requests, also to tip your favorite bartenders. It's really important to recognize excellent service. I know that they say the tips are included, but we always bring at least $10 to $20 a day to share the love with our favorite waiters and bartenders. Things they don't tell you about cruise ships, part 12. Early arrival. When you're looking at that cruise ship itinerary and it says the ship leaves at 5 o'clock on Saturday, you think you have plenty of time to make it to the port. But what if there's an airline delay or traffic or something else that derails your plan? Arriving the night before gives you more flexibility. Plus, when it says 5 o'clock departure, they don't mention that they want you on board usually no later than 2:30 or 3 o'clock. Plus, why not get your vacation started early? Things cruise ships don't tell you, part 13. Time zones. On any given itinerary, you may move through several different time zones, but the ship may not adjust its time based on exactly the moment when you cross into a new time zone. This means if you have a smartwatch or a cell phone set to change time when you're based on location, your time may change before the time on the ship actually changes. And our last cruise, this led to so many people being totally confused about what time it is. So I recommend putting your phone on manual adjusting. So turn off all those settings that adjust the time based on your location so that you're always on the correct ship time. Things cruise ships don't tell you, part 14. Take your passport. So I know, depending on your sailing and if you're a US citizen, you can cruise with a birth certificate and a government issue photo ID. If you take a one-way sailing, you will absolutely need a passport. The other issue is if there is an emergency. Obviously, you didn't plan for that, but if you have to disembark in one of the islands, you will need to wait until a passport can be processed for you in order to fly out of that island. So just take the safe way out. Get the passport, and absolutely do not get a passport card. It is a waste of money. You might as well spend a little bit more and get a passport book that you can use for sailing and flying. Things cruise ships don't tell you, part 15. The pre-cruise hotel package. When you book your cruise, you may have a chance to add on a pre or post-cruise hotel package. In general, these packages don't always end up being a deal, and in fact may cost you quite a bit more than booking your own transfers, hotel, or tours. The goal of these packages is to create a seamless experience for you. You will have someone with you from the time you exit baggage claim at the port airport till when you board the ship. In that your hotel lobby, you'll have a desk that is staffed by local experts so you can ask questions and make sure everything's all set for your cruise experience. Because of this, these packages can cost more than just getting your own transfers, hotel, and tours. Things cruise ships don't tell you, part 16. Luggage tags. When you arrive at the port, similar to when you arrive at an airport, the cruise line will ask you to check in your larger bags. As part of the check-in process for most cruise lines, you will have received a PDF document with your boarding pass as well as the luggage tags. You'll need to print these luggage tags at home. Then the morning before you head to the cruise ship, you'll attach them to the bags. Now, what they don't tell you is if you forget or you don't feel like printing them, the porters at the dock at the pier where you're boarding will have the ability to make you a luggage tag right on the spot. So don't fret if you can't figure out where the luggage tags are or you don't have a printer at home. There will be an opportunity to make you a luggage tag when you arrive at the port. Things they don't tell you about cruise ships, part 17. Expedited boarding. Today, as we were boarding our Holland America cruise, someone got very upset that there was a second expedited line. Most cruise ships extend expedited boarding to suite guests, to guests who have been sailing with a company for a long time, so they have a high number of cruises or cruise days, or even offer expedited boarding as a perk you can pay for. For instance, both Carnival and Royal Caribbean offer packages where you can buy access to that expedited line. Carnival calls it Faster to Fun, Royal Caribbean calls it the Key. Things they don't tell you about cruise ships, part 18. The captain isn't usually driving. While the captain is always overseeing the safety and navigation of the vessel, he or she is not always the one doing the driving. In fact, most of the time the ship is on a very advanced version of autopilot. The bridge watch is split into 4-hour shifts where you'll generally have 2 senior officers and 2 sailors overseeing the navigation of the vessel. On each sailing, you'll have a captain and a staff captain. The staff captain is a fully licensed captain capable of taking over the ship at any time in case something happens to the captain. So if you see the captain walking around, don't worry, the ship is still in good hands. Things they don't tell you about cruise ships, part 19. People die. A lot. In general, the average age of a cruise passenger leaving North America is around 47 years old, but some ships like Holland America tend to have older passengers. In fact, on a lot of sailings on Holland America, 3/4 of the passengers are going to be over the age of 57. Old people sometimes die, so each ship has a morgue to keep the bodies on board until they're able to get back to the port. The ship also has a jail, aka the brig, in case any of the other passengers get a little rowdy. Things they don't tell you about cruise ships, part 20. You're drinking seawater. Most cruise ships make water through a reverse osmosis process or steam evaporation. So in the case of steam evaporation, they will bring in water from the sea, use the heat from the engines to boil the water, leaving the salt behind. Then they will take the evaporated vapors, condense that, filter it, and that becomes your cruise ship water. Now, some people say they notice a difference when it comes to swelling in their ankles because the water is salty. I actually don't notice a salty taste, and I do think a lot of people are reacting more to the salt in the food than necessarily the salt in the water.